Huh. My old location. After a year of bopping around in other places, the damage Scorponok caused is finally fixed. And what good timing, too, because it's time for Werezilla's Retrospective 2nd year anniversary. What is becoming a tradition for Werezilla's Retrospective, it's time to talk about Transformers shows made on the other side of the ocean. We've come a long way from the first Retrospective, talking about Headmasters and all its spite towards previously established continuity, its unlikable characters, its poorly written dialogue, and its idiot plot glory. And then of course came Super God Masterforce, though a more accurate title would have been Chochun Sentai Masterformers, for characters and motives far removed from the central premise of Transformers, and the human supremacy it tried to pull, the exact opposite of what the fan base wants. Good times. But let's not forget that when it comes to Transformers, there are always new toys to sell, and new works of fiction are needed to portray them. And that is what the final entry in the Takara series is for, Transformers Victory. Now, talking about the 1989 toy line this time around would be pointless because Japan made entirely different toys with no relation to the American release. Not that America had anything spectacular. A few new pretenders and the newest gimmick, Micromasters, were just tiny Transformers. Yeah, ideas were running dry at this point. Back in Japan, however, one new idea finally did get into the minds of the higher-ups at Takara. Don't let Masumi Kandeya be head writer. Instead, Victory's head writer was one Hiroki Hoshiyama, a man that, as we'll see, at least knew he was writing a Transformers show. But enough background, let's get to the show itself. The last two theme songs were bad and mediocre respectively. How does Victory stand up? They did it! They finally did it! They understand! No irrelevant tangents on how great humanity is, no pointless heart and peace message, just Autobots battling the evil Decepticons. Very simple, straight to the point, that was all that was necessary for the show. The series opens proper with the episode Brave Hero of the Universe, Star Saber. We meet the eponymous Star Saber, saving an old West town from some generic Decepticons, as well as showing that he stole Space Sheriff Gavin's laser blade. The following info dump fills in on what happened since the events of Masterforce. With the Decepticons causing havoc across the galaxy, the Autobots and various other species have formed the Galactic Peace Alliance to combat them on a galactic scale, the first smart idea the series has had in a long time, and that Star Saber is now Autobot leader. Personally, I thought it would have been in character for Rodimus if he came back, but if my only other options are Cerebros or Jinrai Su, I'll settle for Star Saber. Oh, and speaking of Jinrai Su, we have a scene of him being unceremoniously sent off to another sector of space. How's it feel when you're the one being demoted, eh, Jinrai Su? Meanwhile, the Autobots get word of Earth's moon base being under attack by a new team of Decepticons, the Dinosaur Squadron. And sadly, I must point out that unlike most subgroups, the Dinos are not called by an English name. Rather, they are addressed in Japanese as Kyoryu Sentai. Dang it, why won't Jew Ranger just leave me alone? Rather quickly, we're introduced to the new Autobots, the Brainmasters and the Multiforce. The Brainmasters, in what has to be the most pointless gimmick I've ever seen for a Transformer toy, have smaller robots that go into the chest and then slide up to form the face of a larger robot. What is the point? And the Multiforce are, like Decepticons before them, two smaller robots that come together to form one normal-sized Transformer. I should probably point out that Starsaber is also a Brain Master, and if you forget this fact, don't worry. The show will take time to show his full transformation, uncut, with no alteration to the footage, in every single episode. Anyway, over the course of both this and the following few episodes, we see this is the season of the Combiners, apparently, as the Dinos...
I am not calling them to cure you, Sentai, and you damn well know why.
The Brain Masters, minus Starsaber, and the Multiverse are all Combiner teams, able to become the Jessalts Dino King, Rhodes Caesar, and Landcross, respectively. Also, something's done a little differently with the human companion character, Jan. Instead of coming up with some contrived reason to keep a human child that, frankly, is of no use to the Autobots, instead he is established to be Starsaber's adopted son, his parents having been killed by the Dinos years before. I wonder what the adoption process for Autobots must be like. And if Autobots can adopt humans, does this mean it can work the other way around for the series? Ugh. Confusing legal questions aside, this means humans aren't ignorant of the Transformers' existence like in Masterforce was, so at least someone remembered continuity. On the Decepticons side, we have their new leader, Deathsaurus, one of the most awesome names ever. And his goal is to gather energy from Earth to fuel his conquests. Wait a minute. That was Megatron's original goal. I don't believe it! The series is finally back on track! We also meet his second-in-command, Leozak, a Decepticon who transforms into a jet, has a higher-pitched voice than most of the cast, and plans to usurp his boss and become leader of the Decepticons.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I just described Starscream. Let me start over.
Leozak is a Decepticon who transforms into a jet, has a higher-pitched voice than most of the cast, and plans to usurp his boss to become leader of the Decepticons. To be fair, unlike Starscream, Leozak doesn't declare his intentions to Deathsaurus' face, and doesn't openly plot against him. Some people just learn from others' mistakes, I guess. Finally, in the episode Unite Multiforce, we meet 3 more Decepticons, Kill Bison, Jaguar, and Drillhorn, who, along with Leozak and Deathsaurus himself, are revealed to be Breastformers.
Stop laughing! It refers to the mini-cons that become chest plates for them. Although now that I think about it, does that retroactively make Soundwave and Blaster Breastformers as well?
Also in the episode, New Warrior Hellbat, we're introduced to the 5th Breastformer. I said stop laughing! Known as Hellbat. And like Leozak, Hellbat clearly has his own agenda, trying to rise up in the ranks himself.
You're probably thinking I'm skimping out on the plot here, but the fact of the matter is, Victory has really brought out the spirit of the original show.
Most of the episodes so far have been about the Decepticons' attempts to gather Energon, with the Autobots trying to stop them. However, with Victory being more like the original series, that means it's comprised of a lot of one-shot episodes, stopping only really to introduce new characters. An ongoing story really hasn't happened yet. At least until 17 episodes in, with... Planet Micro, the Mysterious Warrior. Hellbat goes to the planet Micro to gather Energon without Leozak's knowledge, hiring mercenaries who just so happen to be recolors of Thunderwing and Crossblades. But they're just one-shot characters. The real newcomer here is...
Huh, cool. A new Six-Changer character. Wait, why do you sound so familiar? No. You're not suggesting... Those alt modes. Is this meant to be Six Shot?
Ugh, you remember from Headmasters that appalling out-of-character subplot about Six Shot turning against the Decepticons? Mind you, portraying Six Shot as a ninja was as out-of-character as you get with someone like him, but flat-out defecting, modifying his body, and joining the Autobots under a new name. Do I even have to explain why that is wrong? Granted, it's never outright stated that Great Shot is the same character, even if he does have the same voice actor, the same speech pattern, the same alt modes. In fact, he's a former Decepticon who left for all the same reasons as Six Shot.
Oh, for spark's sake.
Anyway, the other Breastformers, I said stop laughing, Follow Hellbat to Micro in the episode Get Back Skyhawk. After soundly repriming him for acting on his own, they rescue the 6th member of their team, Skyhawk, who the Autobots are holding prisoner. Skyhawk, as we see, is a sadistic bastard with no regard for life, something both Starsaber and Greatshot find horrifying. That's possibly calling the kettle black in Greatshot's case, but whatever. Things finally get interesting in the following episode, Form Lio Kaiser. A 7th breast former, yeah, you get the drill by this point, is summoned by Leo Zach to replace Hellbat. Hellbat goes to this 7th member, Death Cobra, in hopes of convincing him to leave so he can keep his position. And convince is emphasized, as we see Hellbat doesn't actually intend any harm, and Death Cobra even promises not to tell Leo Zach about their encounter. The ensuing firefight and Death Cobra's death is purely accidental. A statement I never thought I would make concerning the Decepticons. Hellbat returns to Leo Zach claiming the Autobots were responsible, and in a roaring rampage of revenge, the Breastformers attack Starsaber and even reveal that they, like pretty much everyone else in Victory, are a combiner team, forming the Just-Alt Lio Kaiser, and give Starsaber his first real defeat of the series. Up to this point, the Autobots would be on the ropes in a fight, then Starsaber would show up and everything would turn out in their favor. Not so much here. Unfortunately, the moment is ruined by Jinrai Su's arrival, who quickly rescues the Autobot leader.
You just couldn't stay away, could you?
Anyway, we finally see what Deathsaurus is planning to do with his collection of Energon in the episode Resurrection of the Dark Fortress. Thousands of years ago, Deathsaurus had constructed his own personal planet-destroying space fortress, until Starsaber knocked it into a black hole. As Deathsaurus and the Dinos work to restore the fortress, Starsaber and company run into them on the way back to Earth, and for the 2nd time in a row, Starsaber gets savagely defeated. Man, this is a nice breath of fresh air. A little later on, we get the episode A Deadly Battle. First, it starts off with Deathsaurus doing something that, well, frankly, Megatron should have done to Starscream from the start. He orders Leo Zach to serve him loyally with no plans of betrayal upon pain of death. The rest of the episode seems pretty standard afterwards, Starsaber falling into a trap and gets badly wounded, and like before, Jinrai Su swoops in and attempts to save him, till...
大丈夫さ。ゴッドマスターは不死身だ。陣内、しっかりしろ。陣内。ゴッドだよ。
Could it be?
陣内シス。
So yes, even with the next episode having the worst title in Victory, it is far from the worst episode. And I'm not saying that just because Jinrai Su bites it. No, it actually shows the Autobots at their lowest point. Pretty much every one of the good guys is unable to fight as the Decepticons run amok on Earth. Concerning Jinrai Su, he is currently being operated on by Perceptor. Now there's someone I haven't seen in a long time. As well as Minerva from Masterforce, and Wheeljack?
Aren't you dead?
Yes, I am aware the 86 movie wasn't released in Japan in 1986, but it did finally reach Japanese shores by 1989, which was when Victory aired. And besides, it was meant to be a joke. Anyway, Perceptor reveals Jinrai Su's body is beyond repair, and reluctantly mentions Starsaber's plans for an upgrade for himself, so Jinrai Su suggests they use his remains to make it. So karmic! After all, Jinrai Su spent the entirety of Masterforce stealing the spotlight, upgrading himself and only himself, and now he's being euthanized so he can be someone else's upgrade. What a fitting end. So Perceptor pulls the plug and Jinrai Su is dead. But I can't quite say they made his death seem very good. Instead of a quiet, sad moment, Jan is crying obnoxiously the entire time, and the same loud, blaring music we hear in a lot of other episodes plays. It's like the opposite of how Optimus Prime's death was handled. Just because you look like him doesn't mean your death scene's gonna be as good, apparently.